Well, the Democratic Alliance says they're the only party that can safely secure the country's borders. The party believes that having secure borders will lead to peace and prosperity across the SADC region. So to speak further on this, as well as other issues, I'm joined in studio now by City of Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba. Thanks a lot for joining us on Newsnight this evening. Border control, a big major talking point by DA leader Mmusi Maimane, speaking about how, in his view, the African National Congress has failed in being able to protect citizens and also get rid of illegal criminal activity.
Well, I think it's not just really a failure, it's total failure. I think if you look at how ANC has failed this country over the last 25 years in ensuring that South Africa is a safe place for South Africans and our foreign nationals who are here legally. There's something that I find quite difficult to understand, why ANC and some people actually believe that South Africa must be a borderless country, the only country in the world. I find it really very strange. We are in a country, just to give you an example, in the city of Johannesburg, 300,000 housing backlog. We're sitting with 31.2% in the city of Johannesburg. Countrywide, we're sitting with 44% of our people unemployed. Almost 10 million South Africans are unemployed today. But we talk about opening borders to everyone.
So that is it an issue around opening borders, or is it an issue around Home Affairs getting its story straight so that indeed they can provide the necessary services and also account for those people that are either seeking asylum or also seeking economic opportunity? Because it sounds to me that it's an issue around Home Affairs and being able to account for the people as opposed to just opening the borders.
Absolutely. I think obviously when we talk about the ANC, Home Affairs is run by the ANC. I think, Faith, I'm sure South Africans would remember very well when I took over this administration on the 1st of December 2016, I raised this whole issue of undocumented people in our country.
And then you came across as xenophobic.
Yes, called name, insulted, and I promised South Africans, look, one thing you must accept, for as long as I'm alive, this matter is going to receive prominence. And I'm really so glad as a DA we accepted it as one of our manifestos to protect South Africans and protect our foreign nationals who are in South Africa legally.
What are the cost implications of such a project, though? If you're talking about border control here, and again, border control does not excuse the fact that perhaps we need to start looking at other alternatives in terms of being able to capacitate the Home Affairs Department so they can account for people. But if we're talking about border control and more stringent measures, exactly the cost for that?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think we've the constitutional framework of this country, that is why we've got Home Affairs to control, to make sure that, Faith, as I'm talking to you right now, a South African woman is giving birth to a baby. This baby must immediately be given a birth certificate. When a South African youth turns 16, must get an ID documentation. When a foreign national, for some reason, happen to come to South Africa without documentation, perhaps running from a dictatorship or from persecution, Home Affairs has got a responsibility to make sure that they're immediately documented. But they have actually failed. I think, to just give you an example of the last few days, what's actually coming out of the complaints that I'm getting from...
Well, I would like us to actually talk about the last few days because we are running out of time, but I cannot let you go without us having to talk about these last few days. I mean, we're speaking about failure here. And I will say to you, Mayor, that as South Africans are watching this, many of them feel as though you failed them on behalf of the people of Alexandra. And not necessarily, I'm talking about services here, I'm just talking about the issue of showing up. Just by showing up. You know that people, but let's have an honest conversation.
Yeah.
You can understand why even the community of Alexandra feel as though you failed them because they wanted you to show up, to lead them. Show up and say, guys, this is the problem. This was the budget. It was allocated. Money got squandered, but here I am now. Why didn't you show up?
I think it's really quite unfortunate for people to actually run a spin. If you look at the residents of the city of Johannesburg, if ever there's one community that I engaged, is the community of Alexandra. Upon taking over this government, in June 2016, before the elections, the ANC had a big party in Alexandra, signed a statement of intent with the residents of the property owners in Alexandra, promising them massive redevelopment of Alexandra. Upon taking over office, I immediately made contact with the province because I got hold of this document. I involved Paul Mashatile and his officials to say, MEC, I've got a query from the community. We signed this documentation. The city of Johannesburg is a signatory to this. can we get together with the homeowners? You sign this so that we can, as a city, can implement. You promise to provide the funding for this.
And then what happened?
Ask Paul Mashatile how many meetings and times I've tried. Ask Makura.
David Makura must ask Paul Mashatile. But I want to show you something before I let you.
Let me tell you the reason why I'm saying is now all of a sudden, you get now ANC people who now have hijacked this genuine consent of the people of Alexandra.
Yeah, but so the African National Congress mayor has hijacked it. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Let's just acknowledge this. The African National Congress has hijacked what was supposed to be a plight of the people around service delivery. I take your point. The African National Congress is now using this as a way to get political scoring. I take your point. However, at the end of the day, when you've got the residents of Alexandra, and I'm going to show you a clip right now, when you've got the residents of Alexandra who don't even want you there tomorrow because they feel as though you refuse to show up, that is not a weakness of the African National Congress. That is a weakness of you as a leader that is expecting this entire city to vote for him come May 8th. That's a problem.
Well, let me tell you something. You will see I'm going to Alexandra on Monday as part of my budget process.
Can I show you what's going to happen when you go to Alexandra? Yes. I just want to show you a clip. Look, let's just take a look at a clip of what's going to happen when you do go to Alexandra.
He used to come here. We asked him, we begged him nicely 2 times. We don't want him here. We're going to do violence. We don't care if the president and the premier are here. We're going to ban. We are not going to listen to them if they work with Mashaba to us. We don't want the president and the premier to walk hand in glove with Mashaba to come and address us.
Unless you want Alexandra Township to burn.
Well, I think this is not a representative of the people of Alexandra. When this violent protest started, on the very same day, I was in a very urgent meeting. I sent one of my senior members of government to go and take the memorandum on my behalf, because it was something that just came from nowhere, driven by ANC councillors and people who were involved with the Alexandra
Renewal. So you're saying that guy does not live in Alexandra?
Yeah, what was that?
You're saying that that person that was speaking to us does not live in Alexandra?
To go and talk to the majority of people of Alexandra. The thing is it's not like that. It doesn't really mean...
No, individual living in Alexandra, because if that individual lives in Alexandra, then he's a representation of what may happen. Are you going to show up tomorrow, though?
Wait, tomorrow the president, unfortunately, I requested the president from last week already when he said he was going. I said, the president, please, if ever you are going, I'm happy to accompany you, because I've been asking your government so that we deal with this from an intergovernmental relationship.
Are you going to be there
so
tomorrow?
that no, I can't go without the president inviting me.
Tomorrow?
No, but
he did not want to invite you.
He did not want to invite me. But fortunate enough, I've got a scheduled IDP session, which is a legislative requirement for me
on the
15th. When I plan budget.
The same one that they said that the very same people of Alexandra said that we understand about this scheduled meeting. It was scheduled a long time ago. We take into cognizance that meeting, but what we really wanted to do is for you to show up in the township, address some of the grievances that we have, something as simple as sewage on the street.
Yes.
That does not take a meeting on the 15th of April to address. That just takes you being a leader.
The thing is, it's a question of the people behind this, because if the ANC people have grievances, they're in council. They're elected by people of Alexandra. How many times they missed meetings of council? The last council meeting, end of February, the entire ANC caucus never showed up. Being paid by the resident of the city of Johannesburg.
We're talking about the African National Congress again, but the issue here is not about the African National Congress. The issue here is about the people. At the end of the day, no politicking. It's about the people that have to live in sewage, the people that have got no sanitation. Those are the people.
Let me tell you the people behind running this program. These are the people very concerned of what's going to happen on the 8th. Okay. That is why they went all out, every day, buying people to cause mayhem, buying them liquor, food, and everything like that. That is why they're hell-bent on getting me, even they want to disrupt and divert attention from the real issues. And unfortunately, people of Alexandra are not stupid. This mess that is created, we were only in government for 2.5 years. They know that they've been failed, firstly by the Alexandra Renewal Project. They were failed by the statement of intent, and these matters are coming out.
What is your message to those failed people, those people that feel as though they've been failed by the system and empty promises that have been made since probably 2010 and now it's 2020? 2019 and nothing has been delivered. What do you have to say?
Well, that is why
I
I have to really make sure that I operate on principles. I cannot really be the leader that goes around promising people empty promises. I can tell you, look at the Premier went to Alexander yesterday. What did he promise them? The President is going tomorrow. Please go and follow it to see if he's going to have anything tangible that he's going to promise them.
Yeah.
But you go and see what I'm going on Monday. On Monday, when I go and promise, when I go and promise people of Alexander, I go and promise people of Alexander what we can promise, what we can deliver. Not when lied to people, because people of Alexander have been lied to, and luckily...
People of Alexander, unfortunately, may have been lied to. People of Alexander expected leaders that were able to show up. People of Alexander have expected a lot of things. We have run out of time in our conversation.
It depends what you mean by people of Alexander.
We will be bringing you back again to have another conversation. I do know that it's election time.